Every ancient civilization remembered a great flood. The Bible tells the story of Noah. Mesopotamian texts speak of Atrahasis and Utnapishtim. Greek mythology remembers Deucalion. Ancient India tells of Manu. Different cultures, different languages, yet one event appears again and again. A catastrophic flood that divided history into two worlds. The world before and the world after. But hidden within those ancient traditions is another mystery that receives far less attention. They don't simply describe survivors. They describe cities that existed before the flood ever came. Places where humanity first learned agriculture, writing, kingship, religion, civilization itself. Were these cities real? Were they symbolic? Or could one of them preserve humanity's oldest forgotten history? To answer that question, we have to begin in southern Mesopotamia, where archaeologists uncovered one of the oldest cities ever built. A place many ancient people believed existed before the Great Flood. Its name was Eridu, the city the Sumerians called the beginning thousands of years before Babylon became famous, before Nineveh, before Jerusalem. The Sumerians believed civilization began in one city, Eridu. According to the Sumerian king list, after kingship descended from heaven, the very first city established was Eridu. That opening sentence has fascinated historians for generations, not because they believe kings literally descended from the sky, but because it reveals how the Sumerians understood their own origins. To them, civilization wasn't something humans invented alone. It was something connected to the divine. Archaeology tells an equally remarkable story. The ruins of Eridu lie in present-day southern Iraq. Excavations show that people were living there as early as the 6th millennium BC. Over thousands of years, temples were rebuilt repeatedly on the same sacred location, creating layer upon layer of history beneath the desert. Every new temple stood on the remains of an older one, almost as though each generation believed the city's beginning deserved to be preserved. Before the flood came the kings. One of the strangest ancient documents ever discovered is the Sumerian king list. Unlike ordinary historical records, it divides history into two completely different eras, the age before the flood and the age after it. According to the text, 8 kings ruled before the Great Flood arrived. Their reigns lasted astonishing lengths of time. Some supposedly ruled for tens of thousands of years. Modern historians don't interpret those numbers literally. Many believe they were symbolic, emphasizing the divine status of the earliest rulers rather than recording actual lifespans. Yet something else stands out. The flood marks a clear turning point. Everything before it belongs to a different age. Everything after it becomes recognizably human history. That same pattern appears in several ancient traditions. The flood doesn't simply destroy cities, it ends an entire era. Eridu and the god of wisdom among all the gods worshipped in ancient Sumer, one was especially connected with Eridu, Enki. Known in Akkadian as Ea, Enki was associated with wisdom, fresh water, craftsmanship, and creation. His temple, called the Iabzu, stood at the heart of Eridu. The name itself referred to the mysterious underground waters believed to exist beneath the earth. To the Sumerians, fresh water represented life. Without it, southern Mesopotamia's cities could never survive. Enki wasn't simply worshipped as a creator. He was remembered as a bringer of knowledge. Many myths describe him teaching humanity skills needed for civilization. Agriculture, architecture, craftsmanship, law. These stories weren't scientific history, they were sacred explanations for why civilization existed in the first place, and they all began in Eridu. The flood story, older than Noah. When people think about the world's oldest flood story, they often assume it begins with Genesis. In reality, Mesopotamian flood traditions are even older. One of the earliest appears in the Atrahasis epic. Later versions survive in the Epic of Gilgamesh. According to these accounts, humanity grows numerous across the earth. Eventually, the gods decide to send a catastrophic flood. But one man receives a warning. Atrahasis, or in the Gilgamesh version, Utnapishtim. The warning comes from Enki. Unable to openly oppose the divine assembly, he speaks indirectly, instructing the chosen survivor to build a massive vessel. the similarities with Noah's Ark are unmistakable. A righteous man, a great flood, an enormous boat, the preservation of life. Most historians believe these stories developed from shared flood traditions circulating throughout ancient Mesopotamia long before they appeared in later biblical literature. Could a real flood have inspired the legend? This is where archaeology enters the story. Southern Mesopotamia depended entirely on the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. While these rivers made civilization possible, they also brought destruction. Archaeologists excavating several ancient cities have discovered thick layers of river sediment separating different periods of occupation. These layers show that major floods did occur, not necessarily one flood covering the entire Earth, but catastrophic regional floods capable of destroying entire settlements. To people living at the time, such an event would have felt like the end of the world. Generations later, those memories may have evolved into the great flood traditions preserved across multiple civilizations. History and memory often merge in surprising ways. The city that disappeared beneath time. Unlike Atlantis, Eridu didn't vanish beneath the ocean. It disappeared beneath history itself. As rivers changed course and political power shifted elsewhere, the city slowly declined. Eventually, it was abandoned. Sand buried its temples. Its streets disappeared. Its importance faded from human memory. For thousands of years, people walked across the region without realizing one of civilization's oldest cities rested beneath their feet. Only modern archaeology brought Eridu back into the light. Its rediscovery reminded historians of something important. The oldest chapters of human civilization are still incomplete. Every excavation has the potential to rewrite what we thought we knew about our beginnings. And sometimes, the greatest discoveries aren't entirely new. They're ancient places the world simply forgot. Did civilization begin earlier than we think? For much of the 20th century, historians believed civilization followed a simple sequence. First came farming, then permanent villages, then cities, then monumental architecture. But discoveries over the last few decades have complicated that picture. Sites like Göbekli Tepe in modern-day Turkey date back nearly 11,000 years, thousands of years before Stonehenge and the Egyptian pyramids. Its massive carved pillars suggest large groups of people were capable of organizing ambitious construction projects long before the rise of the world's first known cities. Göbekli Tepe isn't a pre-flood city, nor is it evidence of a lost global civilization, but it reminds us that human history is still full of surprises. Every major discovery forces archaeologists to reconsider old assumptions, and if one forgotten site could change our understanding of civilization once, it could happen again. Why so many ancient cultures remembered the same. Beginning, one of the most fascinating aspects of ancient history is how often civilizations looked back toward a single sacred starting point. For the Sumerians, it was Eridu. For the Egyptians, creation began at a sacred mound rising from the primordial waters. The Hebrews remembered Eden. The Greeks spoke of a golden age before humanity's decline. Although these traditions differ dramatically, they share a common pattern. Human civilization begins in one special place. That place is later lost. Whether through flood, divine judgment, natural disaster, or simply the passage of time. This doesn't necessarily mean they all describe the same historical location. It shows something equally important. Across cultures, people preserve the belief that humanity had once lived closer to its origins than it does today. Where archaeology and myth meet, stories often survive much longer than cities. For centuries, the city of Troy was considered little more than legend. Then archaeologists uncovered its ruins. Likewise, the existence of ancient cities such as Eridu, Uruk, and Ur remained forgotten beneath the sands until excavation revealed them once again. These discoveries don't prove every ancient legend is historically accurate, but they do remind us that mythology and archaeology occasionally intersect in unexpected ways. A legend may preserve the memory of a real place. A flood story may preserve the memory of an actual disaster. A king remembered as larger than life may have ruled a genuine city thousands of years ago. The challenge is distinguishing historical memory from symbolic storytelling. That's where archaeology becomes invaluable. Every excavation adds another piece to the puzzle. the city that changed how we see the past today. Eridu is recognized by many archaeologists as one of the earliest urban settlements in human history. Its temples reveal centuries of continuous rebuilding. Its location reflects the importance of water in one of the world's driest regions. Its myths preserve the beliefs of one of Earth's first civilizations. And perhaps most importantly, it reminds us that history doesn't begin where our oldest surviving books begin. Long before the first page of Genesis was written, long before many civilizations recorded their own histories, people were already building cities, creating religious traditions, and asking profound questions about where humanity came from. Eridu doesn't answer every mystery, but it changes the questions we ask. What we still don't know. Despite more than a century of excavation, much of ancient Mesopotamia remains unexplored. Political instability, environmental change, and the sheer size of archaeological sites mean thousands of buried structures have never been excavated. Every year, satellite imagery reveals ancient canals, forgotten settlements, and traces of cities hidden beneath layers of sand. Some discoveries confirm long-held theories. Others overturn them completely. That's why responsible historians avoid claiming humanity's story is finished, because it isn't. The next excavation could uncover another temple, another archive of clay tablets, another city whose name disappeared from memory thousands of years ago. History is still being written, sometimes with a pen, sometimes with a shovel. Could a pre-flood city hold the key to Earth's true history? If we're speaking about ancient traditions, the answer is remarkably compelling. Cities like Eridu occupied a unique place in the imagination of the Sumerians. They were remembered as the birthplace of kingship, sacred knowledge, and the earliest chapters of civilization. If we're speaking about archaeology, the picture is more cautious. Sites like Eridu, Uruk, and other early Mesopotamian settlements reveal that organized urban life began far earlier than many people once believed. They also show that floods, environmental change, and the passage of time reshaped human history again and again. What they do not confirm is the existence of a forgotten global civilization erased from history. The evidence points instead to something equally remarkable. Civilization emerged gradually, adapted repeatedly, and left behind fragments that archaeologists are still uncovering today. Perhaps that's the greatest lesson these ancient cities offer. Our earliest history isn't completely lost, it's simply buried, waiting beneath layers of earth, broken clay tablets, and forgotten ruins for the next discovery to bring another piece of humanity's story back into the light.